One game down, 16 to go as the NFL season is officially upon us, and week one is in the rearview mirror as the Dallas Cowboys fall to the reigning Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers in an instant classic down in Florida. We're here on Special Edition to break it all down for you the weekend after the 31-29 loss. Isaiah Stanback. We've got Nate Newton as well. I'm Kyle Youmans. And gentlemen, it was a Ryan Suckup 31-yard field goal with 2 seconds remaining that put Tampa Bay on top of the Dallas Cowboys in week one. It was a tight ball game throughout, but that field goal does not even begin to tell the story of how this one unfolded. If you were to tell the story, Isaiah, how would you do it?
Yeah, from the Dallas Cowboys perspective, I would say that these boys have some fight. They have some fight. You know, last year I don't think we had an identity. We didn't have any character last year. This year you could tell right off the bat these boys want to fight. They got busted in their mouth and they still came back and they wanted more. And then on the other side of things, we had missed opportunities. There was an opportunity to take this game and really win this thing, and we fumbled the rock on some of these things. So, hey, overall, not bad, but we have to take advantage of those things when they present themselves.
You know, and I just continue the story with when these missed opportunities, you like one time a touchdown out of 4 attempts in the red zone. That's not good. Open field tackling for us, the special teams, the coverage punts wasn't good. We had a 66-yard return. We had almost a 50-yard return. Missed opportunities where you can back Brady up and hold him tight. And our defense was playing well with 4 turnovers. That's the story.
Those 4 turnovers were good news for the defense. The bad news, they still gave up 433 yards. Another level of good news is the Cowboys outgained the defense in what they allowed on that side of the football. Which unit, though, Isaiah, impressed you the most in the loss?
To be honest with you, it's not a unit. It's the coach, and it was Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore did a heck of a job. You know, as I said, he was in his bag all day long. He was doing a good job of calling plays and getting these guys in formations, personnel groupings, motions, shifts, all those things that really gave us the matchups that we wanted. And then, defensively, these guys made some plays, but overall, I think he was the best on this team.
Yeah, it was nice. But Coach Philbin, the offensive line coach, he did the job, man. He held that thing together for the most part. He kept them front 3, the center, and 2 guards intact, man, playing well. And it helped us down the stretch, man, so Dak was able to step up into the pocket.
You mentioned Zach just kind of in passing there. No Zach Martin throughout the course of this game, but the Cowboys' offensive line was able to really find their footing and still gave time for Dak Prescott to throw the ball down the field a little bit. 58 pass attempts for Dak Prescott, tying a career high. But how did he look and pass the eye test in terms of his first game back in almost an entire calendar year? We'll hit that when we come back with more Special Edition.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gem 7 scratch tickets. There's a Gem 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today.
Came up short, bottom line. Obviously, we fought hard. We fought all the way to there in the end. That's a good football team that we're playing. They got us by a field goal right there. We've got to be better situationally in the red zone. Defense did a great job giving us chances when we didn't convert touchdowns or field goals and getting us the ball right back. They did an incredible job, and we'll get better because of this one. Obviously, it was tough. Tough anytime you don't win. As I said, it's the expectations for this team, for myself, and came up short.
Special thanks to our friends from Nationwide for providing our after-game sound, or post-game sound from Dak Prescott there. And he had a monumental performance in his first game in almost 11 full months. As 333 days away from football is not an easy task by any stretch of the imagination, but Dak Prescott made it look easy with 403 yards of passing and 3 touchdowns. What did you see from QB1 in his return to action?
Yeah, I know most people, when they look at this game, they're going to look at his stats. And his stats say that he did a great job. And I think that he did an amazing job managing. This is a great defense. This is a great team. Not only did he do a good job of distributing the ball, but he also did a good job with his decision-making. But early on, I know a lot of times we were looking at the ankle, we were looking at the shoulder, and were those things going to impact him in this game? And I believe that early on, his shoulder was on his mind. I think that he was a little tentative. I think that his decision-making was impacted by his ability to throw or a lack thereof throw the ball. His velocity was affected as well, but as the game progressed on, he really started dialing in and focusing in on the actual situations of the game and started thinking less of his shoulders, therefore started being more effective throwing-wise.
You know, guys, when I look at this guy, we went out to training camp, me and Kyle, and we saw this guy working on his technique, working on his mechanics and everything. And that I knew would take him through. The mental part I was worried about, you know, offensive line being young as it is in the middle like that. But he held that. He stepped up in the pocket and he took some shots. And as the game went on, like you said, Stanback, he got better and better and better. And that's where those mechanics paid off during the training camp period.
Isaiah, if you had one word to describe the night that Dak Prescott had, what would it be?
One word, I would say efficient. I think he was very efficient. He didn't put us in bad situations. He always kept us in manageable downs. And, you know, he'll get better. He'll get better. I think that he needed this game to knock the rust off. I look forward to seeing him the rest of the year.
I agree with you 100%, man. This dude tough. He's bulldog tough. He's pit bull tough, man, and I love that.
Another tough runner on that offensive side of the football is Ezekiel Elliott. His third lowest total carries in a single game in his career with just 11 carries. He had 33 yards. And, of course, the run game looked a little abandoned early on, or really was that just taking what the defense gives you?
Yeah, that was taking what the defense gives you. Kellen Moore had a game plan, and he wanted to come in and establish a run. But the reality is, this is probably one of the better fronts, if not the best front in the NFL. And you're not going to run the ball against 350-pound Vita Vea, 320-pound Ndamukong Suh, 13-year vet. You're not going to run it up the middle against those guys. So our attack in terms of going outside, he did a great job, as you see there, pressing it to the outside, putting his foot in the ground, getting vertical when he could, and then guess what? The opportunities just went away from him, and he had to take the game in his hands and really be effective blocking.
You know, I'm hard about that running. I'm an old offensive lineman. I want to buckle down, but I'm smart. It's a new NFL. And if you run 10 or 12 times, as long as it's effective, then your passing game is always going to set up everything. And Dak was the man last night. So Zeke, I mean, after watching him after the game, he was okay with it. He know what the game plan was. He stuck with it. Kellen Moore, great job.
Cowboys are now 0-8 when Ezekiel Elliott gets anything less than 12 carries throughout Ezekiel Elliott's career. So keep that in mind moving forward for the rest of the season. But how about Trayvon Diggs last night? Did he show that in year number 2, he's a top-end corner in the NFL? We'll talk about CB1 when we come back with more Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.
Dallas wins the turnover battle on Thursday night, but loses the game 31-29 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Welcome back in to Special Edition from the Globe Life Studios at the Star. Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. And gentlemen, there was a lot to learn about this team. Going up against the reigning Super Bowl champions, Tom Brady, especially on the defensive side of the football. They had their tests in front of them, but what was the biggest thing you learned, Nate Newton, whenever it came to the defense and Dan Quinn on Thursday night?
They're going to take advantage of the opportunities. A tip pass, and they came up with an interception. You saw D-Law come in and punch one out. You see Lewis take advantage of a late half, right before the half pass. They take advantage of the opportunities, man. I think they got a lot to learn. They still got to line up proper, be in the right gaps and stuff like that. But we got young guys. We got Osi. We got Carlos Watkins from the Texans. And, hey, they're just learning, and they'll get better.
I think the main thing that I took away from this game was Dan Quinn is going to match you based upon what you put out there. He's not going to try to force his guys to play outside of themselves, right? We saw that yesterday. We saw this other day when, those guys were 55 plays or something like that versus 14 to 15 plays at the linebacker position. The Vander Esch and Jalen Smith barely got any play because guess what? They can't cover that well. Right. So they weren't going to ask them to do what they couldn't do that well. So I'm very proud of the fact that Dan Quinn is putting these guys in position to be successful. We'll see these guys make a lot of plays going forward.
Out of 65 defensive snaps, Micah Parsons with 51, Keanu Neal with 50, Leighton Vander Esch with 14 and Jalen Smith with 16. Much less from the two starting linebackers over the last couple of years than what we've seen in the past. But now looking at the secondary, almost 380 passing yards for Tom Brady, who is now 6-0 against the Dallas Cowboys. Isaiah, outside of Trayvon Diggs, well, let's talk about Trayvon Diggs. What did you think about cornerback 1 and then also the corners behind him?
Trayvon Diggs answered the call. as a second-year cornerback in this league to be asked and tasked to go up and shut down Mike Evans and actually doing it. Not being asked to do it, but also converting on it. He shut down Mike Evans, arguably one of the better receivers in this league. Unfortunately, we don't have a CB 1B 1C as they had a wide receiver 1A, B, and C in terms of Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown.
Oh man, Antonio Brown, man. Anthony Brown, keep your head up, work on your techniques, play the game a little bit better. But what you went against, man, was like you say, that was 1C in Antonio Brown. And boy, he took it to work.
Yeah, he definitely did. There might be a little bit of concern in that secondary overall when you look at the depth at the cornerback position. But is there concern in the kicking game and on special teams? Because there were 4 points left on the board last night. If you wanted to get critical, you might have been able to say more. A PAT and a missed 31-yard field goal. Are you worried at all about Greg Zuerlein?
I'm not. It's just unfortunate that this rust that he had yesterday, that's the rust that you're supposed to knock off in the preseason. And unfortunately, this was his preseason game, and it cost us.
I agree with you 100%, but I'm still on these coverage teams. Cover better, back them up, keep them inside the 25. And that is where we didn't do a great job.
No, not at all. And I think if you're going to leave points on the board against a reigning Super Bowl champion and a quarterback like Tom Brady, it's going to come back to bite you. And, of course, having those 4 points later in the game whenever they were driving for the Ryan Suckup 31-yard field goal, it would have paid dividends, and you didn't have that to work with. However, you mentioned it, this could be the preseason game for Greg Zuerlein. Prior to this game, he was 19 of 19 from inside 40 yards as a Dallas Cowboy, and he did miss that one from 31 yards out. We'll see exactly what Zuerlein has moving forward. But what plays made the biggest impact in the win or the loss? We'll talk about it when we come back with more Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
Welcome back into Special Edition from the Globe Life Studios at the Star. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Youmans, where we take a look back at Thursday's action in the loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And there were a couple moments throughout the game, you could say, that lost the game for the Dallas Cowboys. You can talk about the missed field goals, the missed PATs, special teams, all the way through, I think, for the Cowboys. But really, the offense and defense had their hand in it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody had a part in this loss. And the one thing about missed opportunities is you don't get them back. All right, so what we're going to do here is take a look at a couple plays that we wish we would have had back that I believe would have turned the tide of this game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the one play here when we're on offense. This is called an option play, all right? This is a quarterback option. And on a quarterback option, you have two things that you have to do as Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is going to be looking right here at JPP. All right, JPP number 90, we know he's the boss hog. If JPP goes up the field, then he's going to keep the ball and cut up inside his lineman. If he goes down the field and tries to take Dak, then he's going to pitch the ball out to Ezekiel Elliott. But if it turns into an actual pitch, then guess who has to have the biggest block on the field? Jarwin. Blake Jarwin. So as we look at Blake Jarwin right here, Blake Jarwin is responsible for Adams, okay? And what you want to do here as Blake Jarwin, if the ball comes out your way, is you want to come up and block the outside shoulder of Adams, forcing him inside. Why? Because the play is going where?
Outside.
Outside. So if you have a player going outside you to make a play, you don't want to block him from the inside, blocking him out towards the guy who's running the ball. Let's take a look here at the responsibilities and if Blake gets things done. So you see the ball here, boom, JPP comes right at Dak, so forces the pitch. Now, as he forces the pitch, what did we just talk about? We just talked about Jarwin needs to get where? He needs to get out here and seal this edge, because if he seals the edge, then Zeke, our big boy running back, gets to literally walk in the end zone. But because Jarwin comes all the way to the inside shoulder, he's literally blocking Adams towards his running back, not allowing Zeke to have opportunity to make a play. Adams gets paid to make plays too. He comes downhill, makes a great open field tackle.
And there were a couple alignment issues on the defensive side of the football as well. Inside, outside leverage play huge roles, especially in the red zone. We saw that on the other side as well.
Yeah, we saw it on the other side, and they have a big boy on their team named Gronkowski, right? Gronkowski and TB12, they have a little bit of chemistry. One thing we know about TB12 is he's high intellect. He knows what's out there. You can't really surprise him. So as you get into the red zone, the one thing you want to do is heat him up. You don't want to give him time. So as we see right here, I want you guys to pay particular close attention to the alignment of our big 9-0 right here, D-Law. D-Law is responsible for who? Gronkowski. And right now, as it stands, Gronkowski is supposed to be a blocker because on the backside, we have a post route and we have a whip route right here on the backside with Antonio Brown and Godwin. So we know that right now he's supposed to be in blocking. But let's watch how Donovan Wilson inserts himself. This is a cover zero blitz, which means that everybody's man-to-man. You are rushing. You're trying to get to TB12. You don't want anybody back there because you're playing man-to-man press coverage. So as we look at his alignment, look right here. As soon as D-Law changes his alignment from being head up to outside of Gronkowski, I want you guys to look at the eyes of Gronkowski. All right, go ahead and play it a little bit. He turns his head once. Right? He turns his head 2 times. What he's doing right there is he's looking for confirmation from TB12 that they are seeing the same thing, that they have the same keys. Let's look at it from a different angle. Again, we see the alignment right here, okay? So, boom, right here, you have Donovan Wilson. D-Law is responsible for who? Gronkowski. Right now, if they're playing man-to-man coverage, if Gronkowski decides to run a route, who has him? Absolutely nobody. So as we go back to the other angle, you guys will see it again here. Watch it play out. D-Law's head up. As soon as he changes alignment, there goes the eyes. He looks back again, confirmation. That look right there, literally TB12 just changed the whole play. Because never in life would you ever have a post route with a seam route going to the same area. So he changed Gronkowski's route from simply blocking to running a route, and we see what happens right here. He sets the block, fakes him out. Nobody's there because he knows, and TB12 knows that D-Law shouldn't be covering him, especially from outside leverage. That is too easy. That's an assignment error.
That's one of the nonverbals that we hear about with Tom Brady, and one of the reasons why he and Gronkowski have that connection. Do the Cowboys have a connection, or do they have a problem on the defensive side of the football? What is the biggest practice point for the Cowboys this week as they prepare for the Chargers when we return?
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special edition presented by AT&T was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Big time week ahead for the Dallas Cowboys as they try and avoid going 0-2 following the 31-29 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Final segment of Special Edition. Back with Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton. And gentlemen, Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers are on the docket coming up this upcoming Sunday, a 3:25 kickoff for that game. And based on what you saw Thursday night, what is the biggest point of emphasis throughout practices this week?
We're going to have to defend again on the outside. These boys are going to test us. Keenan Allen is an absolute dog. And then on the other side of the ball, that Bosa boy is a beast as well. So we have our hands full going into this game. But, I think we're up for the challenge after having just faced what we consider to be the best.
With Zach Martin being back, our run game will improve 100%. And so I'll be excited about that. But I want to see our defensive line continue to get better and better. So when Neva Gallimore get back, we'll be running on all cylinders.
So you mentioned Zach Martin being back. There is still a chance that he is not available to play going into this game because it is COVID and it is a timetable deal. So if he's unavailable to go, do you feel confident going up against a guy like Bosa on the other side?
Definitely. I mean, we got LC and we got Tyron. I ain't worried about the tackles. It's the middle, babe. The middle's a little soft and a little gooey, but I'm good, man.
Isaiah, we talked about Greg Zuerlein in the last segment. Is there any added emphasis in the kicking game going into this week to get him some reps?
No, I mean, you just want him kicking extra points instead of field goals. You know, so you heard Dak earlier talking about our ability to be able to convert in the red zone. We want to score touchdowns. We don't want him kicking 30-yard field goals, 30, 40-yard field goals. Those need to be touchdowns. Let's keep him just extra points.
It's a long week ahead for the Cowboys and a little extra time off before the Week 2 matchup with the Chargers. We'll be back next weekend to break it all down for you and get you set for Week 2. He's Nate Newton. He's Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Youmans. So long from the Star.